guys, it's Janet Wakeland with remarkablycreated.com. In today's One Take Wonder video, we are going to look at another use for blendabilities, and just in time for the holiday gift making season. What we're going to be looking at is using them on tiles. Blendabilities is Stampin Up's version of alcohol-based markers. They are sold in sets of 3, and they are color coordinated from light to dark to make for great blending and shading. What you will find when working with tiles, though, is you won't have as much of the blending ability that you would have on paper just because of the nature of paper versus tile. But let's take a look at all of the supplies that you need, and then we'll come back to these tiles here in just a second. You are going to need tiles. I prefer the stoneware tiles as opposed to the shiny ones that seem to have like a glassy finish. I like the stoneware ones. The blendabilities dries and becomes permanent much quicker on them. So I do prefer the stoneware based ones personally. You will need a heat tool. You're going to need a Versamark pad. You'll need embossing powder. You'll need an embossing buddy. And you're going to want a fine brush. And the steps that you're going to do is you're going to ink up your stamp with the Versamark. And actually prior to that, you're going to take and you want to make sure that your tile is clean. Any smudges, marks, anything like that, you want to make sure that your tile is clean. Make sure that it is dry if you used any kind of water to wash it. And then you're going to take your embossing buddy and you're just going to rub it over the tile just to kind of so that powder doesn't stick where it's not supposed to. You'll ink up your stamp with the Versamark. You'll press your stamp on the block. I like to pick it up and give it a good blow and blow off all of the little extra powders that might be around it, and then you can use your brush to brush off any other extra powder. And then you're going to want to go ahead and heat it with your heat tool. I caution you when heating it with your heat tool that the tile will get very, very hot. It is a great conductor of heat and it will get hot to the touch. This is a great project to do even with young kids. So if you are working with young children, I would recommend that the adult does the heating process. In addition, because the tiles get hot, you're going to want to let them cool before you work with your blendabilities coloring them in. Now, before we talk a little bit more about coloring, let me show you what doesn't work for just a second. This was a tile. This is one of our stoneware tiles. And again, it's got a more porous surface than the coated shiny tiles. And I stamped it with the Memento black ink pad, which is the black ink pad that's intended for the blendabilities. But what I've found is that even after days of letting it sit, and even after heat setting it, it still rubs off. Okay, so it is not a permanent ink on tile. So what not to do is the Memento ink on the pad. What you want to do is, again, that embossing. Now, because embossing is raised a little bit and the stoneware tile has a little bit of a texture, one of the things that I recommended in a previous Blendabilities video was that you own a second set of Blendabilities and that you label that set craft. That way, if the tips get just a little bit frayed, just a little roughed up from working with the rough edges of embossing, maybe a little bit of roughness of a tile, you've got a set of markers intended just for craft making, and it won't stress you or bother you, and you'll have a nice set with great tips if you are using these on cardstock for the traditional blending that Blendabilities is known for. So let's grab some green here, and you may notice with the Blendabilities that the cap is a little hard to get off, and that's intentional. The Blendabilities are an alcohol-based marker, which means that they will dry out if exposed to air, and so you want to use them and then you want to recap them. You don't want to leave them sitting open, and we'll just go over the branches here. And you are going to want to set this aside, and it does have a little bit of a drying time, at least on the shiny. The matte finish tiles seem to grab the ink and kind of become permanent pretty quickly. And again, with the tile, you won't have the same blending properties that you do, so you're just going to kind of have to use your eye and make it look a little artsy to yourself, like, you know, where do I want it a little darker or a little lighter. One thing that I did find is that I can take like a little dauber and I can kind of mush the colors, flatten them out, blend them just a little bit with a little bit of a dauber. So just real simple cardinal. This is the beauty of the season. I used the skin tones, I used our cherry cobbler, and I used the old olive markers on that one. This is our new nutcracker stamp. There's actually a Santa in it as well too, and I love that. Here I put him off to the left a little bit and used the chevrons from Work of Art, and I'm still working on coloring him in. But this one I colored with our Night of Navy markers, the cherry cobbler, the basic gray markers, and again our skin tones. This one I know has blue leaves, and that's intentional, but this is the colors in my new office, and I wanted to trivet for my coffee mug in my new office. So again, cherry cobbler, our daffodil delight, and our Night of Navy was the blendability colors that was used on that one. So lots and lots of possibilities. Again, just a real quick reminder, you want your tiles, you want your blendabilities, you want an embossing heat tool, you want the Versamark pad, you want your black embossing powder, you want an embossing buddy, and you want a brush so that you can go ahead and brush off any extra powder that you might have. And everything that you see here is available through the Stampin' Up! Catalog, and you can shop online through me at any time. And if you want, you can stop by my website, remarkablycreated.com, for links to make shopping easier and for close-up pictures and some reminders of the steps and the details for you. So thanks for watching, guys. Happy gift making. Take care and God bless.